is Bianca with Leaders in Business podcast, where CEOs and executives in the digital marketing space and social media space share their best advice. It is 6 questions in 9 minutes because leaders know what they're talking about. So let's get to it. In a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Kennedy, and I'm the social media marketing manager at Forrester. I cover all organic social media as well as employee advocacy.
Awesome. So what's the best thing about leading your business?
So working in social media, something that's exciting that's been happening is in B2B, there tends to be this concept that you need to be really buttoned up, but there's been this shift where B2B social media managers are being a lot more human and thinking about that end user, the CMO, CIO, what do they care about and how can we speak to that? So it's been really cool to be a part of.
Wow, that's interesting. So I hear from others that it can be challenging to grow your business today with everything that is going on. So what are the biggest challenges you see business leaders facing today?
I think the biggest thing I've seen, especially this year, is really how to lean into empathy. That's something that's really been a growing trend this year for all businesses, regardless of what space you're in, because users and your customers want to feel seen and heard and understood. So whether you're working in an industry or working in B2C and selling shoes, people want to feel like they're understood as a consumer and they're not just getting kind of copy and paste messaging. So I think really thinking about who your user is, being clear how you're actually helping solve their problems versus just kind of talking at them.
Yes, that's true. I agree with that. So what is the best advice you can give to other business leaders about creating a successful business?
So I teach personal branding at my organization, and I think this also applies to business leaders. And the number one thing that I always ask people to think about is their why. And your why is more important than just your passion or your business. It's why do you do what you do? Why does it matter? And why should people even care? So rather than saying, oh, here's our product and it's great, look at this technology, what are you actually solving? And what is someone's life going to be like if they don't have it? So actually thinking about the gap that you're filling. So for example, my why is to really empower others. So I really think about that I really build that into my personal brand, what I do at work, what I do outside of work, when I accept engagements like this. Am I empowering others? Am I helping people? That's my why.
All right. A while ago, you said that you are working on a personal branding. So can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so that's something that I really started because I saw a lack of education around just social media awareness and helping sales reps actually social sell. So I wanted to be able to kind of create like a framework or some kind of worksheet to help people actually build that. So it's something that I spent the last couple years on, but I really built basically this worksheet that helps people start to understand what their values are, what they're interested in, what their goals are, and then what types of content they can create that kind of shapes that into a personal brand.
Yeah, that's impressive. So you mentioned about the why on how to getting the why. So can you give some tips so that other business leaders could achieve that, like getting into the why?
Yeah, I think of it as kind of a elevator pitch for your product, but to someone who doesn't at all know what you do. So I work in social media marketing. My parents don't completely understand what that is, but I usually tell them I communicate with people, I try to engage people, and I try to get more people to discover who we are. So that's messaging that really can transcend across any industry and any business. But thinking about what are those main components of what you're actually trying to do. You have a technology, you have a product, but what are you actually solving? And try to think of the human way to explain that to someone that doesn't know, isn't in your industry. How can you be human and explain that versus just those buzzwords? And then also go into your own organization and ask reps, ask marketers if that makes sense. Because if the people that are marketing your product and selling your product don't think that effectively describes what they're doing, that's probably, knowing that you should kind of go back to the drawing board.
That's fantastic. So, what other successful business leaders like yourself would you like to acknowledge and should be on the podcast?
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to call out a previous colleague who is Ashley Cook, and she's currently at Rain Focus. We work together at Serious Decisions, and she is one of the main reasons our demand programs were so successful. And she also built a really strong relationship between marketing and sales where we had just a mutual respect and great partnership. And she's one of those people that has made me a better marketer, made me a better person. She's still a great friend, and I think she's just an overall incredible marketer.
Awesome. I will look them up. So now for the final fun question, who is the most interesting person to follow on social media and why?
Yeah, so I absolutely have to call out Brianne Fleming. She is at Brianne2K on Twitter. She has this really fascinating, fun personality, and her tagline is actually, I talk about brands and boy bands, and she literally has this way where she's able to connect pop culture and even things that happened in the 90s and early 2000s to current marketing strategies, and she's probably the best person that I've really followed on Twitter this year.
All right. It was a pleasure having you on. So how can people find you?
Yeah, so on LinkedIn, you can search Claire Kennedy. I have a pride flag in my headline, so that's a great way to know it's me. And then on Twitter, it's at Claire A. Kennedy _.
Well, that's a wrap. This is Bianca with the Leaders in Business Podcast. For more insights and ideas, go to our website, leadersinbusinesspodcast.com.